Hello everyone, and welcome to the SenseGlove for Unreal Engine tutorials. I am Mamadou Babai, the main SenseGlove for Unreal Plugin developer at SenseGlove. In this video, we are going to see how to install and set up the SenseGlove Unreal Engine plugin on Microsoft Windows. Okay. In order to obtain and install the SenseGlove Unreal Engine plugin, there are two methods that we are going through each in this video. The first one is, of course, through the Epic Marketplace and Epic Launcher, since SenseGlove has been available since December 2022 on the Epic Marketplace. So you could just simply run your Epic Launcher. It's now opening on my first screen, so I'm going to move it to the second screen so you can see it. Here, if you go to the Marketplace tab inside Unreal Engine section, and inside the search box, you look for SenseGlove, as I am doing right now. It's going to probably, I had a typo. Yeah, it's going to suggest it to you. So I'm going to select it. And as you can see, right now we are on the SenseGlove landing page on Epic's Marketplace. Now, what I can do is to just directly install it to any of the engines installed on my computer. Also, please note that there are a few useful links here that you could use later, for example, for retrieving some examples or documentation, or you could get in touch with us through our social media here. And also there are extra informations about the plugin that you could review. Anyways, I'm going to go forward with the installation. So here I press install to the engine. I'm going to, for example, choose 4.27 and hit the install button. It's going to install this inside my engines folder, and it's going to be available for any project that I'm going to create on my computer. It might take a bit of time to install. In the meanwhile, I'm going to explain to you the other method. So if you Google for SenseGlove or Unreal, you will probably on one of the first few results, you will see the link from the Unreal Engine Epic stores. And if you click on that, you are going to come to the same page. Here, as you can see, there are a few useful links, and one of those links is the changelog. If I create, if I click on this link, I'm going to, of course, I'm going to get a warning from Epic. It says this is an external link. We are going to click to continue to the external website, and here you will be redirected to the Azure repositories for SenseGlove. And once you come here, you see the changelog. Of course, this changelog is from the dev branch, so that means it's constantly getting updated. So if you want to track the latest development status, you could always refer to this file, even for changes that has not been published to the Epic Store yet. But anyway, if you here on Microsoft Azure repositories. If you click on the file section, you will come to the root of the repository, and basically here, if you check the branches, for every version of the engine, there's going to be a branch, like for example from 4.22 up to unreleased version of the Unreal Engine, which is I guess now at preview 2, 5.2. Also, there are two other branches, master and dev. The master branch is always the latest development branch for the a stable version of the engine. For example, right now it's 5.1, so it's at the moment equivalent to the 5.1 branch. And also there is a dev branch which all the active development usually happens here. It may build or may not build. So it's just I don't recommend constantly checking this branch out, but if you want to experiment with the new features and see what changes are going to be released next, you could always check the dev branch. It's usually as I said, it's just usually equivalent to the next unreleased version of the engine, which in that case it's 5.2. There is also a pack branch, which is a utility branch for deploying the plugin to Epic Marketplace. So I guess the launcher installation has finished. Yes, it is finished, and now what I can do is basically first check if it has been installed correctly. In order for that, I have to go to Windows Explorer, where I've installed my engine. I guess I've installed it inside Drive C and inside the folder called OPT. I have my engine 4.27 installed here. So I'm going inside that folder, and there, if you go inside the engine folder and inside the plugins folder, and here there should be a marketplace, as you can see. And inside here, if you see the SenseGlove folder, that means the plugin has been installed, but it's time to check if it works and if it's installed correctly. So I'm going back to the Epic Launcher, and I am going to launch Unreal Engine version 4.27. It's running on my first screen, so I have to wait a bit in order to see the engine window. Okay, it's here. I'm going to basically create a new project. It's a game project, and basically I'm going to create a blank project. I'm going to keep it blueprint, and I'm going to actually choose the tutorials folder. And here I'm going to create a project called SG Test, and just hit the create button. Again, it's opening on my first screen. Okay, now once my engine has opened, I'm click on the edit menu, then I'm going to the plugin section, and here if I search for SenseGlove, as you can see, I have it installed, but it's not enabled. So I'm going to enable it, and it says in order for the plugin to be loaded, I have to restart the engine. So I'm going to just do that. again, it's opening on my first screen, so I have to wait a bit. Okay, now we can see it and we can confirm if the plugin is enabled. Now I can see the plugin is enabled here. And of course, we could go for just testing it out inside the level blueprint. Okay, at event begin play, I'm going to just check the version of the plugin. So if you right click here inside the event graph and you scroll down, here you should be seeing a section called SenseGlove. And as you can see, there are a few sections here. Some of them, if you open it, they have other sections, subsections. And basically, let's go with the core section, and probably here inside the library, there is like a get version. And what am I gonna do here is going to connect the event bit to bind the event begin play, and also use the print string command. And I'm just going to extend the time to, let's say, 8 seconds, and just connect these nodes and the return value from the SenseGlove core libraries as an output to the print string. So I'm going to hit compile, save, or I could just cancel it and play the level. And as you can see, it just prints the SGCore C++ library version here. That means our plugin installation has been successful through the Epic's marketplace. So let's close this. This was the easiest way to install SenseGlove for Unreal Engine, but okay. Now, if you come to the marketplace page again and look for SenseGlove, and if you try to install the engine, let's say for 5.2, basically there is no way to install that. Why? Because it's not a stable release yet, but let's say you want to try it and there's no way to install this through the Epic launcher, or once in a few weeks 5.2 has been released, Epic won't allow us to release updates for the older versions of the plugin, for example 4.27, so it's not going to receive new features. What would you do in that case? And it's just good to know that Epic always supports the latest 3 stable versions of the engine, so it's a limitation sadly on their part. That's why we cannot push updates for 4.27 once 5.2 has been released. Anyway, let's say I want to install SenseGlove Unreal Engine plugin for version 5.2. And now basically there is no way to do that. In order to do that, I could go simply here. As you can see, as I said, there's a changelog link. You could click on that, and once that link is open, you are on the SenseGlove for Unreal Azure repositories. You go to the files section here. And once you are here, the only thing you have to be wary of is to select the correct version of the engine here, because if you don't do that, let's say I'm on the master branch now points to 5.1 and I want to, for example, install it for 4.27, it's not going to open up, and you will see a lot of errors inside the engine because there are binary files that are shipped with our plugin or our samples that are not compatible between engine versions. So you have to always check the correct version here first, and then download that version for your engine. In this case, I'm going to try it with 5.2. So once I made sure I'm on the 5.2 branch, basically what I can do, I'm going to click this hamburger menu or this 3-dot menu, and I'm going to click download as zip. And once I do that, it's going to install this it's going to allow me to save this as someplace on my computer. I'm going to select desktop and replace this file, and it probably takes a while to download. And just let's go back, explain something. Please make sure always, because there are two places that you could basically install the SenseGlove for Unreal Engine. As you can see, one is through the Epic Launcher, which by default installs the plugin inside the engine itself. We could do the same thing, create the directives manually, or put once this zip archive is downloaded, we could put it anywhere we want. Like for example, most of the time people could extract it here inside the developer folder, and the next time you open your engine, it's going to just build a plugin for us, because right now there are this is only source only, no binaries available. And also just be wary, you could install it inside your project. For example, here we create a project, SG test, and inside here you could just create like a folder called plugins and put your plugin here. But the thing that you should be wary of is the fact that you could have the plugin installed inside the engine folder and inside your projects folder. But here's the catch: sometimes the engine prefers one over the other, and the plugin features may not work as expected. So that's why I highly recommend you choose a fixed place. Either put it inside your projects folder, inside the plugins folder here, or just install it in your engine and use it basically on all projects. But you can of course disable or enable it per project. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Never mix the two approaches, like installing it inside the engine and also at the same time installing it on your project, because it may cause issues. Sometimes you update one and forget to update the other. So yeah, that's why you might get confused why it's not the right version is not showing up inside your project. So now it's open and it's finished. Now I'm going to open it. This is the downloaded plugin. And what am I going to do? Basically, I'm going to create a new project inside Unreal Engine 5.2, and I'm going to use the plugin with that version. So again, I'm going to the Epic Launcher. This time I'm going to the library, and I'm going to launch version 5.2. As you can see, it's in preview 2. And we have to wait a bit, because this is the first time probably I'm running this after it has been updated, so it may take a while. I'm getting a prompt. I'm going to allow it to install the software it requires on my computer. And now it should be launching. Yes, it's on my first screen again. I have to wait a bit for the engine to load. Okay, basically here I'm going to the games section. Again, I'm going to create a blank blueprint project without the starter content, and I guess the defaults are fine. And I am going to again create it inside that tutorials folder. I'm going to call it SG test. Oh, it says I have another one with this name, so I'm going to just say 52 for 5.2, and yeah, just hit the create button. And again, I see the Unreal Engine logo on my first screen, so I have to wait a bit. Now the engine is open. I'm going to drag it to the second monitor so you can see it. Now, if I go to the plugins section just to check, and here if I search for SenseGlove, as you can see, there's nothing here. So I have to basically close the engine window and manually extract this inside our own project. So I'm going to open another window, and here I'm going to the tutorials folder inside SG test 5.2. I'm going to create a plugins folder. Please be careful and just not to have a typo. And on some other distributions like operating systems, like for example Linux, this might be case sensitive depending on your file system. So please make sure, or even Mac OS, you have to make sure it's just named correctly. So once I'm here, I'm going to hit first I have to make sure once I open this, are there any directory inside here or no, like the SenseGlove Unreal. So there's no like top level directory here. Basically everything is in the top level directory inside the zip archive once I open it. So we have to either create like a SenseGlove-Unreal folder here and then extract it inside this folder, or what we could do is just like drag it with the right click on the mouse. And for example, 7-zip allows me to just, instead of hitting the extract here button, extract to SenseGlove Unreal folder. It's just basically going to create that folder for me. So I'm going to do that, and as you can see here, it's just now it's been extracted. And as you can see, there's no binaries or intermediate folder here, so that means it's not built. But the next time I'm going to open this project inside Unreal Engine, so I'm going to just simply hit open. It's going to basically let me know it's not being built. There are a few modules, and all of them, as you can see, start with SenseGlove. It says these modules are missing or not being built. So would you like to rebuild them now? I would say yes. And it may take a while for it to build. And always you can go to the task manager. And inside the task manager, probably you're able to see probably here, yeah, Microsoft Visual C++ compiler. It's working. It is in the background, and it's just building the plugin for us. And once that is done, Unreal Engine is going to load the project, and we can check if we have installed it correctly. So if I go to the edit menu, then plugins, and this time check SenseGlove. As you can see, it's just being built, and now it's enabled. And yeah, basically the plugin is available. I'm going to just call the get library version again to see if it really works. So basically here inside the engine, I'm going to the open level blueprint, and I'm gonna drag this to my second monitor again at the begin play. Before that, you could check if you have the SenseGlove section. As you can see, we have it here. Now, what am I gonna do is just this time going to call get library version. This time I'm going to get it from SGConnect instead of SGCore. So because there are two SenseGlove libraries that we are shipping with the Unreal Engine plugin, one is SGCore, the other one is SGConnect. These are two separate libraries. But anyway, in this case, I'm going to print a version for SGConnect. So, and I'm going to again increase the time, this time to 10 seconds so I can see it. I'm gonna hit the compile button, and basically once I run it, I should see the library version here. That means now our plugin has been installed manually from Microsoft Azure DevOps repositories. So yeah, basically that's it, and I hope you have enjoyed this video.